Everybody, and welcome back on Lit Up with Annie. This is the second session on feminism. In the first session, we introduced feminism. We saw that what kind of a platform is feminism, it's a political stance, and all of that we saw. Today, we are going to begin with the major feminist writers. And the first one in the first wave of feminism is Mary Wollstonecraft. And the most famous work, Rights of Women. Now, Mary Wollstonecraft is considered one of the pioneers of feminist thought. लेट 18th सेंचुरी में इन्होंने एक वर्क लिखा जो बहुत फेमस हुआ विच इज़ अ विंडिकेशन ऑफ द राइट्स ऑफ वुमेन 1792 लेट 18th सेंचुरी में. It was a groundbreaking work and it argued about women's equality in different spheres. For example, in education, in politics and in society. Wollstonecraft ये believe करती थी that women should have the same opportunities as men to develop their intellectual and moral capacities. अच्छा, एक बहुत ही interesting बात ये है कि क्योंकि Wollstonecraft हम कह रहे हैं pioneer, one of the earliest of feminist writers रही हैं, तो उस टाइम पे इनके पास एक लिटरेचर रिव्यू होता है ना, जैसे वो नहीं था बहुत ज़्यादा. सो इट वुड हैव बीन वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट फॉर हर एज अ वुमन टू इवन टॉक अबाउट समथिंग लाइक दिस इन अ पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी, राइट. तो फिर इन्होंने इन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, लेकिन शी डिड नॉट गो फार इनफ एक्चुअली, बिकॉज शी सेड जैसा है वैसा ठीक है, बस एक इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी इन एजुकेशन दे दो. जैसे लेट्स रीड फ्रॉम यर. ओके, तो यूरोपियन फेमिनिज्म, ये यूरोपियन फेमिनिज्म की बात है, ठीक है. इट कैन बी ट्रेस्ड बैक टू 18th सेंचुरी राइटिंग्स ऑफ मैरी वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट. ये हो गया इनका वर्क. इन दिस शी रिजेक्टेड द इस्टेब्लिश्ड व्यू दैट वुमेन आर नेचुरली वीकर. हमने लास्ट क्लास में देखा बहुत सारी चीज़ें कि कैसे चीज़ों को नेचुरलाइज कर दिया जाता है, स्पेशली इन सिनेमा एंड ऑल, दैट वुमेन जो है वो नेचुरली वीक हैं या इन्फीरियर हैं टू मैन. ये एक नेचर का एक हिस्सा है, ऐसे प्रेजेंट किया जाता है. शी सेड दैट द अनइक्वल नेचर ऑफ जेंडर रिलेशंस वाज देयर बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ एजुकेशन. सो शी पॉइंटेड आउट दैट this viewpoint that is there in the society is because of lack of education, and it is very true. She attacks male thinkers. इन्होंने बहुत एक बहादुरी वाला काम किया, that she attacked some male thinkers, big names जैसे रूसो. आप बिलीव नहीं करोगे, हम पढ़ते हैं रूसो को, पढ़ते हैं महान थ्योरीज पढ़ते हैं, एरिस्टोटल को पढ़ते हैं, महान एरिस्टोटल की थ्योरीज को पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन ये इतने महान फिलोसफर्स, इन्होंने इतनी दे हैव टॉक्ड, आई वुड से, वेरी नेगेटिवली अबाउट वुमेन. तो एरिस्टोटल कहते हैं, यू नो, ही बिलीव्स दैट वुमेन आर बोर्न, वुमन वॉज बोर्न आउट ऑफ मैन्स रिब. सो he's talked something bad like that. So she has attacked the male thinkers like Rousseau, who had argued that women did not need an education. तो रूसो जैसे महान लोग कह रहे हैं औरतों को ज़रूरत ही नहीं है एजुकेशन की. She suggested that rationality and reason must be given importance over sensibility and feeling. So she has pointed out very nice things, you know, कि rational बनो, थोड़ा reason को ऊपर रखो feelings, emotions से. She was one of the first thinkers to propose that gender roles are not natural but social. ये बहुत मेन पॉइंट है. आगे जाके सिमोन डी बिवॉर और बहुत सारे और लोग भी जेंडर रोल्स के बारे में जिन्होंने बात की है, दे हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट दैट इट इज़ नॉट नेचुरल. जो हमारे रोल्स हैं, केयर गिवर्स और नरिशर्स और हाउस होल्ड को आगे चलाने वाले, these roles are not natural. That a man is supposed to go out and work, that role is not natural. It is given by the society that a woman will be good as a housewife, but a man cannot be good as a house husband. That's a role given by the society. So this shift from femininity as natural to femininity as social is the major contribution of Wollstonecraft. She was hesitant to upset the gender hierarchies. As I said that एक gender hierarchy बनी हुई थी, and she was a little hesitant to upset that hierarchy. For instance, she believed that men did have superior virtues. अब उनको बोलना पड़ा होगा, मुझे लगता है ऐसा. Education, as Wollstonecraft saw it, was about improvement, but she did not see it as a means of overturning hierarchies. इन्होंने बस ये बात की हाँ एजुकेशन ज़रूरी है improvement के लिए, but she did not say that I'm going to reverse the hierarchies, that women are going to become superior or something like that. She believed that education should instill a love of domestic life. ठीक है, women will still work in a domestic sphere with improved things in mind. With education, she'll be a little improved. ठीक है. A little more about Mary Wollstonecraft. So as I said, Wollstonecraft did not want to upset the gender hierarchies. So Wollstonecraft believed that women should have the same opportunities as men to develop their intellectual and moral capacities, because she thought that somehow men have better virtues. Her ideas laid foundation for modern feminist movements, emphasizing the importance of women's education and their right to participate fully in society. तो अगर मैं एक pointers बनाऊँ, you can take note of that. मैंने लिखा नहीं है. A vindication of rights of women की मैं बात कर रही हूँ. Number 1, she talked about equality in education. So she argued that women should have access to the same kind of education as men have. Then number 2, intellectual equality. She advocated the intellectual equality of women, emphasizing that they should be seen as thinking beings. क्योंकि औरतों को सोचा ही नहीं जाता था इस तरह से कि वो सोच भी सकती हैं. अगर आपने शायद हिस्टोरिकल ड्रामास देखे होंगे, उसमें वुमेन का कोई से ही नहीं होता था. अगर वुमेन कुछ सजेस्ट कर रही है तो आदमी हंसता था कि यार तुम चुप रहो, तुम क्या बताओगे. Why? Because somehow men thought that वही सोच सकते हैं, औरतों को दिमाग नहीं दिया है शायद भगवान ने. तो इन्होंने वो एक शुरुआत की कि यार एटलीस्ट यू consider a woman as a thinking being capable of reason rather than just mere objects of beauty and domesticity. वो सिर्फ सुंदरता के लिए नहीं आई है दुनिया में. Third point, social and political rights. So she insisted that women should have the same social and political rights as men. Number 4, critique of gender stereotypes. So she criticized the prevailing gender stereotypes and the societal expectations that limited women to domestic roles. Number 5, she talked about marriage and family. So she discussed the institutions of marriage, emphasizing the importance of mutual respect. Number 6, motherhood and education. She argued that mothers played a crucial, देखो mothers बहुत एक important role है, because whether a girl child or a boy child, the first learnings will come through a mother. So she argued that mothers played a crucial role in shaping the moral character of future citizens. अब मेल चाइल्ड का भी तो फ्यूचर वो मदर्स के हाथ में है. Therefore, she said that the mothers, should be educated to fulfill this role effectively. Number 7, call for a rational society. Already discussed कि rationality को you should give importance. Number 8, rejection of passivity. So she encouraged women to be active. कि बस पीछे मत रहो, पैसिवली मत सुनते रहो सब कुछ, वहाँ पे प्रेजेंट एक्टिवली रहो. इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिविजुअल्स capable of making choices for themselves. Don't think कि आप decisions नहीं ले सकते हो. Don't look towards your, I don't know, maybe parents, if you are of age, or your husband or somebody else, your children maybe, to take certain decisions. ये सिर्फ बोलने की बातें नहीं है, आपने नोटिस भी किया होगा. मे बी थिंक अबाउट योर मदर्स, इफ they've been in house, they've been housewives, homemakers. Think about them. I'm not saying all of them, all of yours mothers, but आई स्टिल बिलीव मैक्सिमम ऑफ देम, अगर आप नोटिस करो ध्यान से, तो वो एक डिसीजन लेने के लिए सबसे पूछेगी, अपने मे बी हस्बैंड से पूछेगी, अपने बच्चों से भी पूछेगी, ऐसा कर लूँ मैं, ऐसा ठीक रहेगा? वाई? शी इज़ अ मदर एंड ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ ऑल. सो दैट्स व्हाट वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट पॉइंटेड आउट. वुमेन को वो बोल रही हैं दैट प्लीज टेक control of your lives and be able to make decisions, make choices for yourself. And number 9, legacy. That's what I'm going to talk about. That her work, the legacy of Wollstonecraft, she was an inspiration for many other women to come, many other feminists to come. तो जैसे हमने फर्स्ट क्लास में मैंने आपको कहा था that feminism has become a joke these days. मूवीज़ में, ड्रामाज में फेमिनिज्म को लेके बहुत सारे जोक्स आते हैं. इट्स वेरी इनसेंसिटिव आई बिलीव, बिकॉज देर हैव बीन विमेन लाइक मैरी वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट जिन्होंने बहुत मेहनत की, बहुत इस तरह का बातें कहीं आके बाहर, एंड वी शुड से थैंक्स टू देम for the education that we are getting, we've got, for what we've become, women. Yeah, that's her legacy. And her work has been seen as an influence by the 19th and the 20th century feminists, the suffragettes, and the feminist thinkers like Susan Anthony or Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Simone de Beauvoir. So that's about Mary Wollstonecraft. Next, we are going to move on to talk about Margaret Fuller. She was the first फेमिनिस्ट, अमेरिकन फेमिनिस्ट. जैसे अभी हमने यूरोपियन फेमिनिज्म की बात किया विद मैरी वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट, अगर हम अमेरिका में देखें तो मार्गरेट फुलर का वर्क इज़ पाथ ब्रेकिंग, ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग, स्पेशली हर वर्क वुमन इन द 19th century, 1845. It can be seen as a parallel origin for Western feminism. But there is a difference. Unlike Wollstonecraft, she did not support specific gender roles कि women को education चाहिए to improve her domestic life. No. She was very upright. She believed that women need not be confined to domestic duties. And there are no feminine roles. She just outrightly rejected all kinds of feminine roles. So very brave of her. There cannot be a completely masculine role. इन्होंने ये भी कहा, you must have heard about the concept of androgyny associated with Virginia Woolf. But it was Margaret Fuller who actually talked about the concept first. And Virginia Woolf talked about androgynous mind. But androgyny का concept Margaret Fuller ने दिया. She said that कोई भी completely masculine role नहीं हो सकता, just as there is no truly feminine female. कोई भी masculine male नहीं है, कोई भी feminine female नहीं है. It's a combination of both always. A male will always contain some kind of feminine things, and a female will always consist of some kind of masculine something. That's what she argued. In the late 20th century criticism, the concept of androgyny and the transcendence of gender would become a major theoretical move, but it was Fuller who first propounded it. That there cannot be a completely masculine male, just as there cannot be a truly feminine female. So, a bit more about Fuller. Introduction. 19th century feminist, writer known for the advocacy of women's rights and her pioneering work in women's literature. She wrote Woman in the 19th Century, a seminal feminist text where she argued for women's intellectual and spiritual equality with men. Fuller believed in women's education and empowerment and played a crucial role in advancing feminist movement in the United States during her time. Fuller extended her concerns with gender roles and unequal power relations to classes. ये एक important move था कि इन्होंने सिर्फ gender roles की और unequal power relations की बात तो की है, but she extended it to classes also. What class? She supported prison reforms. Another very important point. She was one of the first to talk about prison reform. कि अगर आप prison में women की condition देखो या किसी की भी condition देखो बहुत बेकार है, but yes, of course she talked about prison reform and she was very very keen on ensuring proper conditions for women prisoners because of so many different things like hygiene and all. She was the first to seek a solidarity between African Americans and women, seeing both as the victims of a racist, sexist social structure. If we have to talk in points about her work, Women in the 19th Century. Point number 1, published in 1945. Point number 2, the main theme. What is the main theme? Thesis: women should be regarded as intellectual and spiritually equal to men. The Great Lawsuit, number 3. तो ग्रेट लॉ सूट की बात किसने की है, कहाँ की है? मार्गरेट फुलर ने की है अपने वर्क में वुमेन इन द 19th सेंचुरी. विद इन दिस एसे फुलर presents the idea of the great lawsuit between men and women. And what does this symbolize? Struggle for women's rights and equality. Number 4, domestic sphere. So Fuller critiques the limited roles assigned to women. कि आपने roles assign कर दिए, बहुत limited है भाई. Domesticity, primarily within the domestic sphere, and argues for expanding their opportunities and influence. Number 5 is education for women. She advocates for women's education and the development of their intellectual faculties, believing that educated women can contribute more meaningfully to society. Number 6 is emphasis on self-development. So she emphasized self-development पे reliance for self-reliance for women. जैसे मार्गरेट फुलर, उसने वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट ने भी कहा था a little bit, इन्होंने भी expand किया है. And she's talked about transcendentalist ideas of individualism. अपने को भी टाइम दो यार थोड़ा. Then again she's talked about marriage like Wollstonecraft, and she's talked about love. Fuller discusses the importance of love and true partnership in marriage. ऐसा नहीं कि बस शादी कर ली है, लड़की घर में रखने के लिए घर के काम करेगी, सेवा करेगी. True partnership is something else. Marriage is something else altogether, as opposed to the traditional subjugation of women within the marital status. But usually, I'll just talk about our country and some places, especially the interior places of our country. Even now, even around you, you will see that people find girls for their sons who will take care of the household, who will take care of their son, just like a house help would do, without getting paid, of course, the woman. So yeah, she's talking about that. She's talking, that's not marriage. That's like a slave system. पहले slave रखते थे लोग, अब ऐसे इस तरह से शादी बोल के उसको शादी के नाम पे मजाक बना के रखा है. Then number 8 is influence on feminism. Women in the 19th century played a significant role in shaping the early feminist movement in the US and inspired many suffragettes and feminists. Literary style. Fuller's essay combines philosophical ideas with passionate and persuasive prose. तो दोनों का एक स्टाइल, इनका जो राइटिंग का स्टाइल है वो इस तरह का है. Making it compelling call to action for women's rights. बहुत अच्छे तरीके से एक स्टाइल जो इनका है. So Margaret Fuller का जो वर्क है, it laid groundwork for future feminist thinkers again, and very important essays that she's talked about. So this is about Margaret Fuller. I'll end the session today with 2 major feminist writers, and in the next session we'll talk about Virginia Woolf and Simone de Beauvoir. If you are liking my sessions, please share the videos with other people and please subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next session. Thank you.